Kings and Queens, Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Trust you and yours are well and you are loving yourself. And others, like always, many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my still subscribers. You are loved, celebrated, and appreciated. It is said that Rwanda closes down 5,600 churches. Yeah, you heard that right. Paul Kagame is at it again. Now, when it comes to the relationship between the African people and churches, is an emotional one because some people will come out and say, "Oh, why is he closing down churches? Churches should be the house where God dwells in." So, if Rwanda is closing down these churches, that means Rwanda is going far away from God. So, that is if your idea of communicating with the divine or of being spiritual is by having all these buildings around that are called churches. And if you've been following me, you know that there have been a lot of evil done to people through the so-called churches. People wake up and say, okay, they've had an encounter with the Almighty, they have had an encounter with the Creator, and the Creator asks them to open a building. And then whenever you come, whatever problems you are having, whoever is the person that should have had this encounter will just place their hand on your head, and then your problems will be solved. Many people, their senses are being used in all these building called churches. Majority of these buildings that they call churches are shrines that demonic practices are being performed. Are shrines where people's star, people's destiny are taken away, are stolen right before their faces. But because it is church, Africans will flock there. Because it is in the name of a God, Africans will flock there. They don't care to do a background check on whoever this person is that claimed to have this encounter. They don't care to do a background check on what the real aim of the establishment of that particular firm. No. And this is our weakness as the African, as the melanated people. You remember that video we're talking about how Dr. Ray was explaining to us that the black people are the most spiritual people. They are the race of people that love everything about a God. The race of people that loved everything about the Creator. And that is why the moment they hear this is for the sake of God, the black man goes all in into it. And this is the weakness that is being used against us from ages past. If you've done a lot of check or a lot of going back into history, the enemy take advantage of us in the name of God. In the name of God, lands were taken away. In the name of God, our resources are taken away, and even till today, it still happens. And this time around, Rwanda is saying enough. 5,600, just imagine, 5,600 churches were closed down. That is to say, before those numbers were closed down, how many numbers of establishments in the name of church are there in Rwanda? So if Rwanda could close down 5,600 churches and there are still a huge number of them, then what about the case of Nigeria? Because in the whole of Africa, Nigeria is one of the countries that has the highest number of churches. Because even someone's parlor can be turned into churches, and you see people flock there. It's unfortunate. So I want us to listen to this news, and we'll take it up from there, Your Majesties.
The Rwandan government shuts over 5,600 churches. By Obed David. Religion is a huge part of African culture, perhaps because most African countries are largely underdeveloped. The church has become a place where people go to get answers and help. However, this has also led to the proliferation of places of worship, most of which critics argue are more transactional than spiritual, paying little or no attention to the safety and security of their members. Christianity is the dominant religion in Rwanda. The main denominations in Rwanda are Catholicism and Protestantism, with about 45% of the population identifying as Catholics and 35% as Protestants. Recently, the Rwandan government, led by President Paul Kagame, did the unthinkable. The government climbed down on over 5,600 churches, including 100 cave churches. And the reason? The failure to comply with safety and health regulations such as poor soundproofing and the transactional nature of many places of worship. Rwanda media outlets The News Times said the move is part of a 2-week nationwide operation by Rwanda Government Board (RGB), which began on 29 of July. The majority of the affected faith-based organizations, according to RGB Chief Executive Utsa Keitesi, lacked basic infrastructure and proper hygiene and safety standards, while several others were operating illegally. This is an ongoing nationwide operation for those churches that remain non-compliant with the law. As RGB, we are not deterred by any efforts in the pursuit of having proper standards of places of worship. The idea is that people should understand that these are not healthy ways of worship. This is not just about non-compliance with the law, but it also puts the lives of the worshippers at risk. Worshippers should not be exposed to hazards, according to the faith of most Christians. God is omnipresent. Why should a worshipper risk their life inside a cave? Keitesi said on a public broadcaster.
All right, Majesties, you have heard all that. It's quite unfortunate that the African people are still in this situation, in this age and time. Remember that pastor that we always talk about his teachings here? He said that it is only the African people that is waiting to die to go become rich in heaven. It's only them that are waiting to die to go meet their God in heaven. The white man, okay, that came to the shores with Jesus of Lubeck, do not think that their reward is anywhere aside from here. And that is why they try their best to come to Africa to steal resources and go make their home heaven. Okay? And then they tell Africans that were taken during slavery that they should give thanks to the Almighty that they were taken from hell. So they come to Africa, take resources to go build their heaven in their home. And then they tell you that Africa is hell. You see? And then in turn, they begin to sell this salvation to our people. Most of our men and women become custodian of these things. It's no more the white man coming to you physically again to steal from you, to lie to you, to milk our money from you anymore. It is your own brothers and sisters who become custodians of these things. So these centers it's not just a place where people go to for maybe spiritual, to suit themselves spiritually, or to maybe escape from the present problem that they are in, but it's also a place where transactions are being carried out, monetary transactions, where salvation is being sold to people. So you bring certain amount of money and you get salvation is sold to you. It's just like what happened prior to the Reformation era, where what do you call it? Oh my goodness. Indulgences were sold by popes, heads of the Catholic Church. Okay? Indulgences were sold. And so if you are poor, you will not make heaven. Because these indulgences are sold at a particular amount. You can go check history. The sale of indulgence. These are one of the reasons why the Catholic Church, I'm going to say the church because it was Catholic from the beginning. This was one of the reasons why the church was divided. And we have different denominations right now. Because the Pope had to sell indulgence. So you commit a sin and then you come and buy indulgence. Buy forgiveness. Your Majesties, salvation is sold to people now. You pay so amount of money. Remember the pastor that said it's no more 10% again. Your tithe has to be 70%. In short, he said he's collecting 70% from people now, not 10%. So you go break your backs throughout the month and you get paid. You don't think about your family. You don't think about how you're going to continue that working because you have to pay for transportation and other things. Your utility, you have to pay for bills and everything. But you carry 70% of your tithe to go give a man that calls himself a man of God. A man of the God that does not work, sit down, wait for you to go break your backs and bring the 70% for him. This is the unfortunate situation that the African people are in. And for this one, I support Kagame. There are a lot of things I disagree with this man, but this particular one is the best. People should go look for jobs. Go make yourself useful. There are many ways that you can earn money genuinely. Make yourself useful to the society than to go sit down somewhere in one cave, imagine, or 100 caves. So you go sit down in a cave and say you are now in the cave, a holy place, a cave where you are praying. What if those caves collapse on your head? They'll say it's the work of the devil. When you are the ones that carry yourself into places like dangerous places like that, that is a church. You go sit down. A lot of evil are done today. People are dying in the name of a God that people sell to people. Okay? The level of poverty or unemployment is so high in the continent such that people do not want to stress anymore. They don't want to use their brains anymore. The best thing for them that they think is to just open a church and tell people that I have received a message from a God. And you see people there. Like I told you, sometimes when you hear the names of these churches, you ask yourself, how is it that a brother, my sister, will hear this kind of the name of this, hear a name like this, and will carry him or herself to go and sit down and say we are in the church? What some of these pastor preaches, you ask yourself, where are we heading to? Some curse their junior pastors for going to go open their own. In short, you saw that man now, that pastor that was on the pulpit cursing his junior pastor because he went and opened his church in his own church, and his members are flocking to that one's church now. So the business is reducing for him. His offer 3 have started reducing. So it's transaction. It's a business. It's a business center. And people will not hear. A lot of people, their life have been turned upside down because of all these people that they call pastors. People will not hear. Recently in Nigeria, you saw what happened between the young man and the pastor. You see? He said he was selling a pool of Bethesda water. He was selling, what do you call it? Miracle lights. He was selling, see, everything he sold. And when they tell you how the amount they sell, this is the same pastor that 2 years ago got the keys from God, from heaven. And he sold these keys to his member, that with this key, they will open every door. And up until now, he's still selling goods. Does it mean that key that God threw from heaven for him is not working? People don't think. With what happened, I was thinking that people will run away. What are we saying? It is high time that the African people begin to see that all the numbers of churches is not what make a nation great. The number of churches is not what shows how connected a nation is to the Creator. Churches does not have anything to do with our salvation. Churches does not have anything to do with your salvation. Okay? You can go to churches, however, you can, in short, become the number one. When you die, if you do evil, that evil will follow you. If you do good, that good will follow you. Nemesis will always catch up. So you can't be doing evil and be hiding under the shadow of a church. I'm going to a church, I'm the chairman of this, I'm the chairman of that. Churches is not what will give you salvation. Going to church is not what is giving you salvation. And it has been proven from all these times, and we have seen it. What do you think about what Paul Kagame did and his government? Leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive, always your majesties. Bye for now.